When a crisis hits, your brain mathematically forces you to try harder. You sweat, you panic, you aggressively force a solution. This is exactly how you lose everything. The ancient Stoics knew a terrifying biological reality. The exact millisecond you try too hard to control something outside your power, you become a slave to it. Right now, your desperate need to put in effort is bleeding your leverage and keeping you trapped. The window to learn the elite tactic of hidden power is closing. Shut this video off if you want to keep burning out, or stay to learn why winning is mathematically effortless. When America raced to send the first men into space, they trained the astronauts in one skill more than in any other: the art of not panicking. At 150 miles above Earth in a spaceship smaller than a VW, panic is suicide. Down here on Earth in your daily life, trying too hard is professional and social suicide. We have a primal instinct to override systems, disregard procedures, and trade our logic for an emotional freakout because sounding the alarm feels easier than dealing with reality. You falsely believe that taking immediate, exhausting action proves your strength. In reality, it publicly confesses that your fragile mind cannot tolerate the anxiety of uncertainty. The exact millisecond you flinch, sweat, and move without calculation, you surrender your power to the chaos. We wrongly assume that moving forward is the only way to progress, the only way we can win. Sometimes, staying put, going sideways, or moving backward is actually the best way to eliminate what blocks or impedes your path, but society has programmed you to hustle. You have been told that hard work and constant forward momentum are the only ways to survive. They lied. If you are constantly pushing to get a raise, win an argument, or prevent some exigency from happening, you are stripping the very screw you want to turn. We spin our tires in the snow or mud and dig a deeper rut that we will never get out of. Trying hard is a biological trap designed to exhaust the weak. Why forcing outcomes destroys your leverage. To understand the terrifying cost of trying too hard, look at the Panic of 1857. It was a massive national financial crisis that originated in Ohio and hit Cleveland particularly hard, causing businesses to fail and the price of grain to plummet. A young bookkeeper named John D. Rockefeller could have panicked. He could have rushed to save his investments, sweated over his portfolio, and frantically tried to force a solution like everyone else. But even as a young man, Rockefeller had sang-froid, unflappable coolness under pressure. He kept his head while everyone else lost theirs. Instead of bemoaning this economic upheaval, Rockefeller eagerly observed the momentous events. Almost perversely, he chose to look at it all as an opportunity to learn, watching what others did wrong. He realized that speculation led to disaster, and that he needed to always ignore the mad crowd and its inclinations. At 25, a group of investors offered him $500,000 if he could find the right oil wells in which to deploy the money. After touring the fields, Rockefeller shocked his backers by returning empty-handed, not having spent a single dollar. The opportunity didn't feel right, no matter how excited the rest of the market was, so he refunded the money and stayed away from drilling. He possessed the strength to resist temptation, no matter how seductive. He chose not to try. He chose absolute, terrifying inaction. Within 20 years of that first crisis, Rockefeller would alone control 90% of the oil market. His greedy competitors had perished, and his nervous colleagues had sold their shares. For the rest of his life, the greater the chaos, the calmer Rockefeller would become. He could resist impulse in favor of cold, hard common sense. When you try to force an outcome, you become blind. When you do nothing, you retain your objectivity. Your desperate need to act is the exact mechanism that destroys your leverage. The Stoic weapon of tactical inaction. There is a fatal flaw in the psychology of aggressive people. Their entire strategy relies on your resistance. When you refuse to fight back, their momentum becomes their own destruction. There is a famous story of Alexander the Great doing just that, giving observers their first hint that the ambitious teenager might one day conquer the world. As a young man, he trained his famous horse Bucephalus, the horse that even his father, King Philip II, could not break. While others had tried sheer force and whips and ropes, only to be bucked off, Alexander succeeded by lightly mounting and simply hanging on until the horse was calm. He did not fight the beast. He did not exert maximum effort. He did absolutely nothing. Having exhausted himself, Bucephalus had no choice but to submit to his rider's influence. Alexander realized a profound truth. The harder Bucephalus ran, the sooner he got tired out. Alexander used the obstacle against itself. The exact same principle applies to your modern enemies and your daily stressors. The more vicious the attack, the more your opponent relies on you to flinch. When people are rude, conniving, or critical, they want you to meet them head-on. If you push back, you give them a wall to brace against. You give them energy. But if you deploy dead silence and tactical inaction, you act like water. You pull until your opponents lose their balance. You let two jousting egos sort themselves out instead of jumping immediately into the fray. You force them to operate in a void until their own chaotic energy breaks their spirit. You win precisely because you refuse to try. How elite operators win without effort. The popular image of strong leadership is a commander launching a direct head-on attack, sweating and bleeding for victory. This is a dramatic, courageous notion, but it is entirely wrong. In a study of some 280 campaigns from ancient to modern history, the brilliant strategist B.H. Littlehart came to a stunning conclusion. In only 6 of those campaigns was the decisive victory a result of a direct attack. Only 6, that is exactly 2%. The 1% win from the flanks, from the unexpected, and by letting the enemy rush blindly into a trap. Consider the German Blitzkrieg in World War II. It was an intimidating, rapid offensive designed to exploit the flinch of the enemy. Its success depended completely on the opposition collapsing in panic or trying to fight back with brute force. But General Dwight D. Eisenhower saw the Blitzkrieg not as a disaster, but as an opportunity. Instead of attacking it head-on, he allowed a forward wedge of the German army to pass through. By doing nothing to stop the front of the spear, the Allies encircled the enemy completely from the rear. The invincible, penetrating thrust of the German panzers wasn't just impotent, it was suicidal. Eisenhower let them rush headfirst into a meat grinder. When your rivals launch a massive offensive against your character or your business, trying to stop them with equal force is a mathematically flawed strategy. Stepping aside is not cowardice. It is tactical genius. You refuse to match force with force. You let them extend their supply lines until they are entirely exposed. You win without lifting a finger. The inner citadel against external chaos. To execute this level of restraint, you cannot be emotionally fragile. You must build what the ancient Stoics called the inner citadel. It is a metaphysical fortress inside your mind that no external adversity can ever break down. We are not born with such a structure. It must be built and actively reinforced. When you lack an inner citadel, every minor inconvenience forces you to react, to try hard, and to exhaust your precious mental bandwidth. Late in his reign, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius received surprising news. His most trusted general, Avidius Cassius, had rebelled in Syria and declared himself Caesar. Marcus should have been angry. History would have forgiven him for wanting to avenge this enemy and crush the man who had betrayed him. Instead, Marcus did absolutely nothing. He kept the news secret from his troops, who might have been enraged on his behalf, and simply waited to see if Cassius would come to his senses. He controlled his perceptions. He refused to let the external betrayal penetrate his inner citadel. He did not rage, he did not defend his honor to the public, and he did not act impulsively. By doing nothing, he bought time. 3 months later, Cassius was assassinated by his own men in Egypt. The rebellion ended without Marcus having to draw his sword or expend a single ounce of energy. When you protect your inner citadel, you realize that you do not need to intervene in every crisis. Many problems, if left completely alone, will inevitably solve themselves. Your frantic effort only interrupts the natural destruction of your enemies. The ultimate mastery of hidden power. There is a ruthless, elevated tier to this philosophy. It is not just about ignoring the obstacle, it is about absorbing its power and genuinely enjoying the frustration of your opponents. Take the great boxer Jack Johnson in his famous 15-round brawl with Jim Jeffries. Genuinely hated by his opponent and the crowd, Johnson still enjoyed every minute of it. At every nasty remark, he'd give his opponent another lacing. And when a well-placed blow opened a cut on his lip, Johnson kept smiling a gory, bloody, cheerful smile. Every round he got happier as his opponent grew enraged and tired, eventually losing the will to fight. As the novelist Jack London reported from ringside, if ever a man won by nothing more fatiguing than a smile, Johnson won that day. When people criticize you, they underestimate you. If you do not react, you frustrate the impediments attempting to frustrate you. You transform their hatred into your personal fuel, burning their energy while conserving every ounce of your own. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus demanded that we divide life into 2 categories: what is up to us and what is not up to us. Other people's opinions, the chaos of the economy, and the frantic pace of the modern world are not up to you. Every ounce of energy directed at things we cannot influence is totally wasted, self-indulgent, and self-destructive. The ultimate hidden power comes from the brutal, pragmatic acceptance of reality. When you stop kicking and screaming about matters you cannot control, you stop bleeding status. You realize that doing absolutely nothing in the face of chaos is the highest form of sovereignty. You have a choice right now. You can close this video and go back to being a hyperreactive slave. You can keep frantically trying to fix every minor inconvenience, burning out your mind for the fake respect of people who do not matter. Or you can build your inner citadel. You can decide that from this exact second forward, you will not try hard. You will let the world scream, you will let your rivals exhaust themselves, and you will sit in terrifying, impenetrable silence. Face the brutal truth. Are you exhausting yourself because it actually works, or simply because your fragile ego is terrified of sitting still and doing nothing? Defend your position below.